It has been more than 30 years, and police have not named a suspect in the murder of a man who owned a model train shop. Fox 43's Alyssa Kratz details what happened all those years ago as she spoke with one of the victim's close friends who says, as far as he's concerned, the case is closed.
I met Charlie about 1980, had train shows together. We went everywhere together. We became very, very close. He just came in behind Charlie and just cut his throat. There was blood everywhere.
. It's another day of toying and tinkering for Ron Borsella. With every engine fixed, he carries with him a piece of his old pal, Charlie Pullman.
He was a great man, I'm telling you.
Charlie, a World War II veteran, owned a toy train shop in Hanover. The two met in 1980 when Ron moved to town, and along with another friend, Bill Barkby, immediately connected over a shared hobby.
You know, I know it sounds silly playing with choo-choo trains, but you know, we wanted meals together. We did a lot of stuff together. It was a lot of fun. We were buddies.
Until one July weekend in 1993.
Sunday morning, we get a phone call from Bill Barkby and said, Ron, you got to come up to Charlie's shop.
So, Ron went.
This guy cut his throat. Took his money and took off. And there was Charlie. Blood was everywhere.
A robbery gone wrong.
Charlie, unfortunately, didn't believe in banks. Charlie carried all his money in his pocket.
Ron says Charlie tried to get to a phone, but just couldn't put up a fight.
It's tough. That first year, it was really bad. Yeah, all of us had problems because he was really loved.
Jim Beeling has lived in Hanover his whole life. He hasn't forgotten the murder which shook up his small town.
At the time, my wife and I were really upset because this type of thing never happened in Hanover. It's very rare.
To this day, no arrests have been made.
No one ever found out anything about it. You know, it was just a shock. We just found him there and that was it.
But according to Borsella, investigators know exactly who killed his friend. A couple months after Charlie's murder, detectives got word from a lawyer in Texas.
The lawyer's client was a cellmate of this guy. And this guy was bragging about killing the train guy in Hanover.
Allegedly, the man had been in Hanover and saw Charlie pull out a large wad of cash while getting his car fixed at a repair shop.
It could have been you or I, and he would have followed you. He knew where Charlie was. He knew his name and his business, Toy Trains.
That man's name and the reason for his jail sentence are unknown. And Ron says by time detectives got down south, he had died in prison.
That was it. That was the last we ever heard.
Hanover police have not responded to our requests for comment on the case.
There we go. That thing's running great.
But as far as Ron is concerned, it's
That'll smoke you out of the house.
2002, he reopened Toy Trains Unlimited on York Street. His tribute to the man who started it all.
The name will always be here as long as I'm here, and his picture will be there.
What do you think about when you look at those pictures?
I think of good times, because the three of us, Bill Barkby, Charlie Pullman, and myself, we had a lot of good times together. We really did. To this day, we still miss him.
Alyssa Kratz, Fox 43 News.
It's been nearly 30 years since a woman vanished from a York County bar. Her body was found along Route 30 a few months later, but to this day, who killed her remains a mystery. Fox 43's Alyssa Kratz explains how police officers are teaming up with the future minds of law enforcement as they try to crack this cold case.
Well, this morning at 10 o'clock, a man found the body of a female. Her body was pretty well decomposed. Investigating officials say the death looks suspicious.
Judy Smith was found in this ditch right here by a man that lived in a townhouse back here. He was walking back looking for a cat back in '95.
In a classroom on the campus of York College.
One of our last theories was that she was ultimately killed off-site and the ditch was just a dumping spot.
Students in Dr. Barb Hanbury's criminology class are working hand in hand with Pelham Township Police to crack this cold case.
But one thing this scene could tell investigators, this is not where she died.
I created the course so that the students could have a hands-on experience and it would allow them to actually engage with a cold case.
It's been helpful to have 15 students analyzing this case from an objective point of view, from an outside perspective.
Judy Smith was last seen on January 26, 1995, leaving a York bar and getting into a vehicle with 3 other people. Almost exactly 3 months later,
Authorities found the body here, about 50 feet from the eastbound lanes of Route 30 in Pelham Township, York County.
We have to retrace our steps and try to recalibrate our minds.
Judy had been strangled and her clothes were removed from her body.
One pant leg was pulled off one of the legs and she was laying there. But there was DNA evidence sent off to try to determine whether there actually was a sexual assault. You can see the fence, so something that detectives back then were trying to determine is if this was the original fence.
Not far from the body, police discovered a brown paper bag. Inside was a Pennsylvania state license plate and what appears to be a wallet. At this point, they're not sure if that has anything to do with the investigation, but they want to be sure all avenues are covered.
We actually have discovered a couple additional leads.
What we know at this point is she was last seen getting into a vehicle with 3 individuals, and she was never seen from again. So we don't know what happened between that period and when she was found.
One of our current running theories is that she was potentially assaulted in one of the homes, woke up, ran through the brush area, hopped the fence, and where her killer found her again and completed the act.
Another thing that's been really cool and inspiring is just to be able to kind of work on this case and bring a little bit more attention to it.
This is actually the state police helicopter. There were several photos taken by state police that they recently turned back over to us. And they also recorded video that we're still trying to find. They have it in evidence stored away somewhere, so we're trying to dig that back out.
The State Police Crime Lab arrives, armed with evidence envelopes.
Put ourselves into the shoes of those suspects and really get to understand them better.
From everything that we've read and everything that we're continuing to learn about her, she was such a great person and this should not have happened.
We're really hopeful that we can be a part of the solving of this cold case.
Neighbors have their suspicions, but are afraid to reveal them on camera.
I think they're looking for acquaintances. Well, I think they should be, I don't know, looking in another direction.
Pelham Township Police say there are multiple suspects in the case. A few have passed away, but others remain alive.
You know, I think that this case will eventually be solved. Judy Smith, her daughter, and her family all deserve for this to be solved.
We've been trying to handle this case with due diligence and with respect.
It would be just great to kind of, again, find this conclusion and bring justice for her and her family.
Alyssa Kratz, Fox 43 News.
Halloween night 1999 quickly turned from fun to fatal for Rusty Arend. The 30-year-old man was killed in a hit and run after a night of drinking in Cumberland County.
And as Fox 43's Alyssa Kratz explains tonight, police in Mechanicsburg are still trying to track down the driver that struck Rusty nearly 25 years later.
I've been here 40 years now. The case bothers me because it's one of those that I got to be on. And I know that somebody has information. And it's always in the back of our mind every now and then. We pick up the file and look at it. There just isn't anything new to go on.
Mechanicsburg's police chief stops on this photo, a red sneaker lying on West Main Street. It belonged to 30-year-old Rusty Arend. The photo snapped by police on October 31st, 1999, just hours after Rusty was hit by a car and killed. Chief Margaret Myers was working as a patrol officer that night.
Rusty was intoxicated, there was no question about it.
Rusty and his girlfriend drove to his apartment at 130 West Main Street and parked across the street. His girlfriend, who had also been drinking, crossed the road, and when she looked back, Rusty had stumbled and fallen into the street.
She saw it happen, so I'm pretty sure that kind of sobered her up very fast.
What she and only two others witnessed was a car hitting Rusty, then driving off.
We don't know why they didn't come forward.
Mechanicsburg is a small town, and to this day, this remains the police department's only cold case.
Well, it bothers me, and I know that somebody has information for us, and we just don't have the right person yet.
The night of the accident, a neighbor told police they heard a hubcap rolling on the road.
If anybody's heard that, they know that it sounds like nothing else. It just rolled and then it flipped over. So we found the hubcap right where they said it was.
Police do believe it came from the vehicle that hit Rusty, through the few witnesses they had.
The vehicle had pop-up headlights.
Investigators determined it was similar to a reddish Dodge Daytona like this one, but they've never been able to track down the car.
The challenge really is it was 10 o'clock at night. There's only one other car on the road.
Chief Myers hopes getting the case back out there will attract new tips, getting her closer to giving Rusty and his family a piece of closure.
And as long as I'm still here, we'll still be working on it because I'd really like to get it closed. What we're gonna need is somebody whose conscience starts to bother him. Rusty deserves to know who hit him.
Alyssa Kratz, Fox 43 News.